Hey, we had a much livelier crowd in Greenville tonight than we did in Louisville last week. This was a hot crowd for the final Raw before Saturday night's main event this weekend. And honestly, after a great opening tag team match, there wasn't a whole lot to get excited about on this show tonight until the closing moments, where we had a big brawl at the very end with a surprise appearance from CM Punk, who is in a tag team match on Saturday night's main event this coming weekend. And actually, it was two stories in one, because we had CM Punk coming out, along with Sami Zayn, brawling off with Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. That's the match on Saturday. And as they brawled off into the crowd, that left the focus on Jey Uso in the ring, who got blindsided for a fourth time by Logan Paul, knocked out for a fourth time. Not that I really gave Logan Paul much of a chance this weekend coming into this show tonight, but certainly coming out of it, I don't really think that improves his chances of walking out as the World Heavyweight Champion. Two more women have qualified for Money in the Bank in a few weeks. We had some women qualify on SmackDown Friday night. Tonight it was Rhea Ripley, and it was Roxanne Perez, who is officially now a full-time member of the Monday Night Raw roster. She has been flirting with the main roster now for several months. It was made official earlier today that she is officially now on Monday nights. But the big story coming out of that match involving Rhea Ripley, they have their Money in the Bank triple threat qualifiers. It was Rhea Ripley, it was the returning Kairi Sane, who just came back from an injury that kept her out for many, many months, and Zoey Stark, who it would appear is about to be out for many, many months with a very serious injury. She suffered just a nasty injury in that match, and I'll talk more about it when we get there, but that really cast a dark shadow over the rest of this show when that happened. So again, we'll get into that when we get to that part. On the whole, I would say a solid show. Nothing really that you need to go out of your way to see. Definitely not that Zoey Stark injury. I would not go out of my way to see that. Talk about this show here. This is your Raw on Netflix review for May 19th. Oh, yes.
It's May 19th.
May 19th. Kane, somewhere. He's hearing a ringing in his ears. I'll tell you what, as shitty as you want to say those movies were, best movie promotion ever, because we're still talking about this. I say we, I mean, some of us are still talking about this all these years later. What year did that movie come out? What year did See No Evil come out? That had to be what, 2005, 2006? And we're still here talking about May 19th. Now, if only the movie quality could have lived up to, the great promotion for this movie, then maybe they would have had something. Although they did come out with a sequel. They did do a second one. But yes, it is May 19th, 2025. I am the Solomonster. Don't say that date. I know. I just said it. Bad things are going to happen. Like and subscribe. Super chats are open. You will see them popping up on your screen. Oh my goodness.
Shut the
As soon as I say it, there he is. Didn't have to wait very long.
Fuck that tree.
No, fuck that tree indeed. The learning tree is here. Everybody is here. And I'm going to be reading all of your super chats a little bit later on. Noah wants to know, what was the song playing on the pre-show? Well, I'm sure everybody in the chat will be happy to let Noah know what the song was, but it's a little song called, or as we call it, Racing Queen. But yes, it is a popular tune here around these parts. Let me just remind you before we get into the show tonight to go back and check out episode 913 of The Sound Off, dropped just yesterday, over 2 hours, including 2 Dark Side of the Ring reviews as I play catch up. One on Eddie Gilbert, the other on Billy Jack Haynes. Crazy SOB that he is. So go check that out. This week, actually tomorrow night, is the episode on Daphne, which should be the saddest episode and most depressing episode of the entire season. Probably should be the season finale, honestly. But they're going with Muhammad Hassan next week. That's going to be the season finale. I will be working on a review this week on the original Sheik episode, which aired last week, and then we'll be all caught up. So if you're into the dark side of the ring stuff, be sure to go ahead and check that out. But let's get into the Monday Night Raw stuff. How about that? Talk about Logan Paul. Logan Paul is going to be challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship this coming Saturday, but he was out first here to open this episode of Monday Night Raw. And he said, now he was hyping this up the last couple of days on social media, and he was saying they're going to let me go out there and cook. I'm going to go on Raw, I'm going to cook. So Chef Paul came out to the ring to address the audience. He said it's a fact that he will beat Jey Uso on Saturday. He will become the new World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, I pointed out it was this Saturday, I think, is a year ago almost to the day. I think it's off by maybe one day, but it was going to be a year ago this weekend that Logan challenged for the WWE Championship, and he lost. And now he's going to challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship, and he's going to lose again. But he's claiming it's a fact that he's going to walk out with that title. And when he shows up on Raw next Monday, he'll have that belt. So he started yelling at the crowd. The crowd erupted into yeet chants, and he was trying to talk over them. He was trying to shout them down. He said Jey can't handle the weight of being champion. He said the biggest fact of all, though, is that he has knocked out Jey Uso 3 times. And he started to say that he would knock him out again on Saturday and become the new champion when he was interrupted by Gunther's music. And out comes the former World Heavyweight Champion to the ring. He said Logan seemed very confident about beating the man who beat him for the World Heavyweight title. And he assumed that meant that Logan believes that he can beat Gunther. So Gunther praised him. He started to lavish praise on him. And he's praising him as a self-created social media star who built his own empire all by himself. He said that there are things that I can learn from you, he said. And Logan started to smile. He says, see, this man knows what he's talking about. He says, Logan winning the championship would be great for business, he says. And Gunther says, it's business to you, but for me, it's very personal. And he talked about beating Jey to regain the title and said that he would feel disrespected if Logan were to take that away from him. So Gunther said that he sees no heart when he looks in Logan's eyes. And he said that if he and Logan meet for the title on June 9th, because again, that title match is taking place not at Money in the Bank. 2 days after Money in the Bank, that first Raw coming out of the PLE, that's when they're doing Gunther against the winner of this match on Saturday. But when he meets him on June 9th, if he does, he's going to eat Logan alive, he says. And then he left the ring. So then Jey Uso gets into the ring. Now, Logan Paul doesn't know this, though, because Logan's back is turned. And he's looking in the direction of Gunther, who's leaving. Crowd starts to go wild, and we couldn't tell at first why they were going wild. But then we saw that Jey Uso appeared behind him in the ring. And when Logan turned around, Jey dropped him with a super kick. And then he took the mic. And he said, it's a fact that he will see Logan on Saturday, and then he will be the one to see Gunther in Phoenix. It's smart for them to play up the possibility of a Gunther-Logan Paul match, giving us that face-to-face tonight. Actually, we got that. If you go back to the beginning of the year, when they were gearing up for the Raw Netflix debut, and they had that little, I don't know what you would call it, party or whatever it was at WWE headquarters, and they trotted a bunch of people out. I think it was even there. That was the first time that we either had an interaction between them or Gunther was asked about him. He started cutting a promo on Logan Paul. So they actually were teasing this as a potential match even at the beginning of the year. But to see them out there in the middle of the ring like this, face to face, addressing each other, it just sets up the possibility in the eyes of some people that maybe this is going to be the match, in a few weeks for the championship. Maybe makes the match on Saturday a little less predictable. But I think most people know better. I think we know how that's going to be ending on Saturday. They aired footage of Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson of the NBA taking part in a SmackDown angle late last year. And then they showed a tweet on screen from Triple H saying, it's almost like we wrote it. And what this is in reference to, this coming Wednesday, I believe, is it Wednesday? Yeah, I think it's Wednesday, right? That the Eastern Conference Finals start. It's the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. Jalen Brunson plays for the Knicks. Tyrese Halliburton plays for the Pacers. And so now we're actually going to be getting them, basically toe-to-toe on the court. And Triple H is saying, oh, it's like we wrote this in advance. It's like we booked this storyline here. So that's going to be a big deal. I can tell you it's going to be a big deal here in New York. They were going crazy in the streets in Manhattan the other night. I could only imagine what's going to happen if the Knicks actually pull off this win. So, but you know what? I feel bad for the NBA. I feel bad for the NBA because, they're going up against Dynamite on Wednesday. I mean, they don't stand a chance. It's going to be tough competition for the NBA. I mean, if you got to juggle one or the other, come on, what are you going to choose? We're getting a face-to-face between Will Ospreay and Hangman Page on Wednesday before their big match at Double or Nothing next weekend. You think people are going to tune into Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton over Hangman and Will Ospreay? Come on. It's an easy choice. Michael Cole said Halliburton would have an announcement to make later in the show. And my mind began to wander. I'm wondering, what is this announcement? Are we really going to end up getting like a Malone Rodman thing all over again in this series? Are they going to get tangled up on the court just like they did back in the day? Yeah, you never know. It's possible. We had AJ Styles. This right here was the best match on the entire show. We had AJ Styles and we had Penta taking on Finn Balor and JD McDonough representing the Judgment Day. Carlito was out in the Judgment Day's corner. But for the second straight week, there was no Dominic Mysterio. There was no Intercontinental Champion out there. Michael Cole said, people think Dom may be getting a little too big for his britches, is what he said. There was an Owen Hart reference early in this match by Pat. Shout out to Pat McAfee. Dropping some knowledge on those who may not know. He dropped an Owen Hart reference. There was a spot here that McDonough did. It was the old Owen. He did the arm wrench into the kip up, as part of his arsenal. And so JD did it here, and Pat gave a shout out to Owen Hart for that. So that was nice. Styles got the better of McDonough early on until JD thwarted a drop kick attempt. Styles connected with a drop kick after that, and he tagged in Penta, who gave McDonough a backbreaker. Balor got the same. Styles and Penta, they threw Balor and McDonough outside and then connected with stereo splashes. So that took us into the commercial break. When the show came back, McDonough was working over Penta, who eventually got a hot tag to Styles, and the crowd exploded. They were hot for this. Styles lifted Balor. Balor raked the eyes, though. McDonough tagged in. McDonough went for a splash. Styles moved, and McDonough hit Balor instead by accident on the landing. With McDonough now on the outside, Styles moonsaulted off the apron to the floor. And as he moonsaulted off the apron to the floor, he grabbed JD on the way down for a Scorpion Death Drop. So he rolled McDonough back into the ring, but with the referee's attention elsewhere, Carlito grabbed AJ from behind, rammed him face first into the ring post, and they went to commercial break number 2 here in this match. Back live, Balor worked over AJ. The two of them clotheslined each other at the same time. So they went down. We had a reset. McDonough and Penta, they tagged in. Penta landed a crossbody off the top. Then he ran at McDonough. McDonough, though, hit a standing Spanish fly. Balor tagged in. He went to the top. He missed the coup de grace. Penta capitalized on that, hit a sacrifice, wrenched the arm back. Penta went to the top. And JD distracted the referee. Carlito cut Penta off. And at this point, things broke down at ringside. Penta hit a destroyer to McDonough out on the floor. He spiked him on the floor outside. And as Penta now is resting, he's leaning up against the barricade. We see that El Grande Americano has appeared in the crowd, in the front row, and he delivers a headbutt to the back of Penta's head with the loaded mask. So Penta goes down. Balor sees this. He takes advantage of it. He rolls Penta back into the ring. He hits the coup de grace, and he pins Penta to win it for the Judgment Day. So they gave them time. This went through 2 commercial breaks. Almost 20 minutes this went. And it was nice to see the crowd hot for it. Because, again, the crowd's really for Raw and SmackDown. I don't know where they were on Friday. But the crowds for Raw and SmackDown last week were just comatose. And I can't even put that all on the crowds. I didn't think Raw or SmackDown, for the most part, they had their moments. Tiffany and Nia, honestly, on Friday was actually turned out to be a great match. But there really, except for a few things here and there really wasn't a lot to get too excited about last week. So again, I can't put that all on the fans, but they were very quiet. And that's one thing you cannot say about this crowd here in Greenville tonight. But they love this. I did too. This was a fun match. Now, look, I'm not a fan of Penta eating losses. I feel like he's lost a few recently. He did beat Chad Gable last week. But, he fell at Backlash. And, obviously he didn't win at WrestleMania either. So I'm not a fan of him sustaining losses like this. But clearly this is part of a story that they're telling. With El Grande Americano, he's frustrating him and screwing him over at every turn. This is going to build to something at Worlds Collide in a few weeks, whether it's one-on-one, whether they do a Lucha Brothers reunion in WWE, and we have Penta and Phoenix taking on El Grande Americano and somebody else, maybe Dominic Mysterio. But this is leading to something on that Worlds Collide show. And presumably Penta will be getting his payoff very soon. Now, Logan Paul was shown talking on his phone in the back when Seth Rollins walked up to him.
It's the amazing Gunther.
Oh, we gotta pause though.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther.
We got our boy
the
with us.
Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
We got our boy. We got our boy Gunther. Yeah, I just realized I set the incorrect time on that bonus Be the Booker super chat goal, so now it's about to expire. I don't know if I could. Can I change it? I don't think so. Oh, well. My mistake. Well, we'll see. If we get a lot of activity tonight, whatever the number is, maybe we'll do a bonus one anyway, since I fucked up. We'll see. Right now, let's just get those likes up towards the regular goal, so we could do at least one round to Be the Booker. But hey, Dark Effect, thank you for the $50 drop. I appreciate that, brother. Going to be reading your messages here in just a little bit, so don't go nowhere. We got to talk about this segment first. Logan's in the back, and he is on his phone. Seth Rollins walks up, and Rollins tells Logan that Jey Uso will get hurt tonight because he stuck his nose in Seth's business. And Seth said that come Saturday, as opposed to come Tuesday, Uso won't be 100%, so the odds will be in Logan's favor. And Seth said that if Paul can get past Jey Uso, and if he can get past Gunther on June 9th, Seth will be waiting on the other side for him. He said, Logan will know who to thank if he wins this weekend. And he said, you and me can run it back from WrestleMania a couple of years ago, only this time it'll be for the World Heavyweight Championship. So think about it. And he left, and he gave Logan something to ponder. Then we had our first of two women's because it was all women's Money in the Bank qualifying matches tonight. The men's will not kick off on this show until next week. So our first of two women's Money in the Bank qualifiers, both triple threat matches. This one had Becky Lynch. It had Natalya, who lost to Kenzie Page this past weekend at the NWA show in a match for the NWA Women's World Championship. And Roxanne Perez. And as I mentioned earlier, Roxanne is now officially a full-time member of the Raw roster. She's a full-blown Raw roster member. Just like Roman Reigns once threatened to make Sami Zayn a full-blown Uso if Jey Uso fucked up one more time. That was poor Jey. That was a segment where he just had nowhere to go. He was cracking up. He was trying so hard to keep it together. He had nowhere to go. And Roman Reigns, that prick, puts his arm around his cousin and forces him to face forward and look at the fans as this man is about to burst. And he says, I'm going to make this man a full-blown Uso. See, to me, that was the peak. That right there, that segment, that was the peak of the bloodline. It peaked on that night. One of the best segments they've done in at least a decade. So, Julia is on SmackDown. They made that official on Friday. So I assumed, because they broke them up after their match last week, Julia being on SmackDown, I figured Roxanne's going to end up on Raw, and so now they made it official. So Becky, at the beginning of this match here, she was trying to convince Roxanne to go after Natty. And as she was about to, she quickly turned on Roxanne, who threw Becky to the outside. Becky pulled Natalya out of the ring, and a Becky versus Roxanne singles match basically broke out. She attempted to disarm her. Perez worked out of it, and the two of them traded pin attempts back and forth. Perez had the upper hand, and Natty drop-kicked Roxanne out of the ring before going to work on Becky, the series of suplexes. Natty worked a surfboard on Becky for a few seconds there. She went for a sharpshooter. Becky countered out of it into a disarm her. All three women wound up outside, and it looked like there was a little bit of miscommunication here with Becky and Roxanne, and Becky was waiting for her to get into the right position. After a break, Natty landed a discus clothesline on both women. She stacked them up. She was trying for a double sharpshooter, but they fought out of it. Roxanne set up for pop rocks, but Becky countered into a manhandle slam. Natalya reappeared. She took out Becky, and all three women were down. Roxanne went to the top. Becky cut her off, and the two of them were fighting on the middle rope until Natty ran in and collided them together. And then Natty powerbombed Becky for a 2 count. She superplexed Roxy for a 2 count. And then Natty locked in a sharpshooter until Becky bulldogged Natty out of it. Natty clotheslined her and went back to Roxanne. And then Natalya worked a double sharp. Now, they weren't stacked. They were next to each other. But she worked a double simultaneous sharpshooter spot here. And that got a big pop from the crowd. Crowd like that. Lynch got out of it, though, rolled to the outside. Becky came back and hit a manhandle slam on Natty, if you could call it that. I mean, it looked like they just fell over. Didn't look very good. They sort of fell down. And it looked like Becky was going to win when Lyra Valkyria appeared. She flew in, and Lyra attacked Becky. Perez took advantage and delivered pop rocks to Natty to win the match and qualified for Money in the Bank as Lyra took the fight to Becky in the aisleway. This was a good match. A few rough spots, but good stuff on the whole, and the right call, having Roxanne go over. I was very happy they had Roxanne go over, and surprised, frankly. But I guess I shouldn't have been, though. You know, you would have expected in a match like this, after what Becky did to Lyra, and this being no DQ, why wouldn't Lyra make her return this week? Like, we didn't know coming out of Backlash if she seriously injured her nose or she was just selling, because she wasn't on the show last week. So it should have, you know, barring an injury that she may have sustained, it shouldn't have been really all that much of a surprise to see her get involved here. So I'm glad Roxanne went over. Look at the year she's had so far, right? She's been flirting with the main roster now for the entire year, ever since the beginning of the year. She was there, then she wasn't. She was back in NXT doing stuff. But she started the year, the Royal Rumble match. She set the all-time record, well over an hour, for longest Rumble performance. I think she was the runner-up in the Rumble this year. She ended up in the Elimination Chamber match. Had a really good performance there. Didn't win it, but looked really good. Then she vanished and went back to NXT. But now she's going to be in her first I believe her first, Money in the Bank ladder match. I'm almost positive it's her first. Because again, she's flirted with the main roster off and on. But this is big for her. You know, now she has the chance to go out there. Could she win? It's possible. She could. I'm not expecting her to, but we don't know the full field yet. But this is a very big spot for her. And as far as Natty in this match, Natty looked like she had something to prove out there. We don't get to see her on TV as often anymore, which is understandable because there's a lot of women on that roster and a lot of women nipping at her heels, waiting to come up from NXT. A lot of new blood, a lot of big women stars that people are very excited about in NXT. For example, like a Sol Ruka that people are waiting to see. Jordan Gray, Stephanie Vicaire. And so Natty's been there forever, and, you know, she's obviously not involved in any kind of active story right now. So she'll get her opportunities here and there where she can, and this just felt like, okay, I want to make the most. She's been doing more stuff outside of WWE lately. She did stuff in Bloodsport. She just wrestled this weekend for Billy Corgan on an NWA show. Maybe she'll be doing more stuff in the future. So she made the most of it. Not surprising that she took the losing fall here. That's what I would have expected. Because it would, I certainly, of all the three people in this match, the one who I did not expect to qualify for Money in the Bank was Natty. So that part of it wasn't a surprise, but this is a good match on the whole. Now they put a graphic up with some footage from an episode of Raw in June of 2012. This was only a few months after Cena lost to The Rock in their first match at WrestleMania 28. And it was John Cena beating Michael Cole in a no disqualification match. And you may not have... Oh, boy.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh, my goodness. He's back again.
Fuck that tree.
The trees, they're growing. They're sprouting branches. Thank you, Sidro. But you may recall, there was an episode of Raw. This was back when Michael Cole, I guess, was still doing his heel shtick. And John Cena put barbecue sauce all over his body. Cole's body, not his own body. That would be weird. If John Cena began to rub barbecue sauce all over his body in the middle of this show, I would wonder about that guy. But he poured JR's barbecue sauce all over Cole, and he beat the hell out of him. And then he put him in the STF. And actually, Cena was also then partially covered in barbecue sauce. Now, of course, I sit here and I am regaling you with this story, and it sounds very weird, but of course, in light of what we know about Vince McMahon, when you really think about it, it's not all that weird. Actually, it's very disturbing is what it is, because I can only imagine as he was sitting in the back on headset in the gorilla position, watching these men rubbing barbecue sauce all over themselves. What Vince must have been thinking at the time. He was probably getting very excited about this. This man is sick. But yeah, the heel Michael Cole stuff was fucking terrible. And once Jerry Lawler had his heart attack on TV, the one good thing to come out of that is that that was pretty much the end of Michael Cole as a heel on this show. So I would rather not be reminded, frankly, of all those awful moments. But since I guess that happened here in Greenville, which is why they were showing this footage, because it's like, why would they be showing this footage randomly here on Raw? Because this was the city where this took place. But Michael Cole on commentary said that it was embarrassing, but not nearly as embarrassing as what Heidenreich did to him. And I said, my God, we had a Heidenreich mention on this show for another segment. Speaking of the disturbing fucking guy that Vince McMahon is, I try to block that out of my mind as much as possible. I get an odd question about it for the show every now and then. What was this? What was the purpose of this segment? Was it supposed to go anywhere? Was it going to lead to anything? I don't know. I don't care. And I don't want to ever hear about it ever again. But Michael Cole actually name-dropped Heidenreich on this show. And the less said about that, the better. We come back live, and Adam Pearce is talking with Akira Tozawa and Maxine Dupree in the back in his office. And Pearce confirms that Tozawa was medically cleared. He goes, all right, well, if this is the match you want, you're medically cleared. So next week, you get your singles match with Rusev. Because Rusev, of course, beat the hell out of Otis, who was not on this show. And now Tozawa has to stand up for Otis, and he wants to take on Rusev. So rest in peace, Tozawa. He will get his match next week. Chad Gable and Ivy Nile show up, and Gable laughs at the thought of what Rusev is going to do to Tozawa. He said it would be nice to see Alpha Academy put down for good. So Tozawa got upset, and Maxine told him, look, he's not worth it. So they left. Gable said that the Creed brothers have their tag team title match next week, but what about Money in the Bank qualifiers for him and for Ivy Nile? Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods showed up. Gable said that, look, I mean no offense, but Creeds are going to win those titles next week. And Kofi said, maybe. He said, we could all agree, though, that we don't want the War Raiders to end up with those titles. And Pierce booted them all out of his office. So that will be taking place next week. It's going to be a triple threat match for the tag team titles. It'll be the New Day, it will be the War Raiders, and it will be the Creed brothers next Monday night. We had Sheamus one-on-one with Grayson Waller. Sheamus did an interview with the Daily Mail, and he was very upset. He was just being honest and said he was very upset about being left off the WrestleMania card this year, as he should be. You know, and frankly, if you're not upset about being left off a show like WrestleMania, which is 2 nights now, then there's something wrong with you. And Sheamus is a guy who has many WrestleManias to his name and many even great WrestleMania matches to his name. I remember one in particular he had with Matt Riddle, where I think he either booted or kneed the shit out of Riddle there at the finish. That still stands out in my head. That might have been WrestleMania 37. I think that might have been the first Mania where they opened it up after COVID. But Sheamus has had lots of great matches before, lots of WrestleMania appearances, but unfortunately they left him off the card this year. And we haven't really seen too much of him since then. So he came out here for this match with Waller. Sheamus hit a backbreaker. He beeled Waller across the ring. Sheamus clotheslined him over the top, then stepped outside, and Austin Theory was out there. He distracted Sheamus, and Waller made the best of it. He threw Sheamus into the announce desk. The show came back from a commercial break. Waller slapped, punched, chopped Sheamus. All that did was anger him. All that did was wake him up. Yes, the Winston slip says, a shameful thing. I agree. It is a shameful thing. Lobster head. Too many limes. It was a terrible thing when they brought his music back just to take it away from him 2 weeks later. It's like they did it on purpose. So anyway, he is being chopped and he's being slapped and he's just staring this man in the face. He gives it right back to him. And Waller went to the middle rope. He jumped right into a knee strike from Sheamus. That got followed up with a weird, I don't know what this was. This was like a weird tilt-a-whirl slam that Sheamus, I don't know if this is some new move he was trying or he forgot what he was doing mid-move, but don't do it again. Sheamus ran into a spinning elbow from Waller, and with Sheamus on the apron, Waller went for the 10 beats. Sheamus, though, was not having any of that, and this led to Sheamus setting up for 10 beats himself. Waller snuck away. So Waller's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done with this. And he goes to leave. And his own partner, Austin Theory, stops him and says, what are you doing? You can't leave. And so they're arguing. As a result, Sheamus did get to do the 10 beats. Theory was laughing at this, and Sheamus hit the bro kick for the win. So the sloth-like breakup between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller continues. I don't even know what to say. It continues with no payoff. And I suspect we will get a payoff at some point in the years to come. And when that payoff comes, and I'll speak for myself here, I won't give a shit. And I can only hope for the sake of Austin Theory and his future that there are some fans who will give a shit. Because I'm not one of them. Because they have dragged this out for far too long. Now, for Sheamus, I thought he looked great here. Now I say let's get this man that Grand Slam title that he wants. He's earned it. He's not getting any younger. I know he signed a 5-year contract a year or two ago, but look, he's not getting any younger. He's got spinal stenosis. You don't know how many more good years you've got left in Sheamus. They have to get to this story soon. Give this man that Intercontinental title that he wants. It's a great story there to be told. Doesn't even have to be a WrestleMania story. But there's a great story there to be told if they just get to it. Now, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, they made a bet. Cut to the announcers at ringside. And they made a bet that with the NBA Eastern Conference Finals, which commences on Wednesday, if the Indiana Pacers win this series against the Knicks, Michael Cole, who was a big Knicks fan and talked about being there when they won the championship in 1973, because he's old. If the Pacers win, Michael Cole will host an entire episode. He'll do commentary for an entire episode of Raw wearing a tank top, which nobody needs to see. We saw enough of the terrible tattoos when he was doing the heel gimmick, but he'll do an entire episode in a tank top. If the Knicks win, Pat McAfee will do an entire episode of Raw sitting next to him in a suit or a tuxedo. Basically, effectively what's going on here is they'll dress like each other. That's the bet. Then they pitched it to footage from earlier today where the announcers were sitting at ringside in an empty arena, and via satellite or Zoom or whatever it was, they were interviewing Tyrese Halliburton of the Indiana Pacers from his home about his new playable character in the WWE 2K25 DLC pack. What are they calling it? Dunks? Hold on a second. I'll get you the name. Not that it matters. I mean, in the big picture, who gives a shit? But let me at least try to get the name here of what this DLC. Here we go. It's the Dunk and Destruction DLC pack. Oh, well, look at this. Rounding out the Dunk and Destruction DLC pack along with Tyrese Halliburton is Abyss, which is pretty cool, even though he never wrestled a single match in WWE. And the Great Khali. The Great Khali is in the same DLC pack with Tyrese Halliburton. Good luck with that. I don't know how much it's going for. Good luck with that. Anyway, they interviewed him. They asked questions, some questions about the stuff with him and Jalen Brunson. They were asking about 2K25. This was largely a waste of time, is what this was. Good on them for getting one of the players in this big series coming up this week. It's very timely and newsworthy for them to talk to him. So that was fine, whatever. I get why they did it, but this was a waste of time. He did pick Jey Uso to beat Logan Paul on Saturday. So that was the big development here. I don't know how long they spent on this, but this went on for a while. Now, after this, in the back, Kathy Kelly is with Gunther. And she asks him if his game plan is different heading into this upcoming championship match on June 9th. Seth Rollins walks up, and he tells Gunther, it's been a while since you and I shared the same space. Rollins said he wanted Gunther to know that the work he did with my World Heavyweight Championship was pretty good. Gunther said he heard about the long-term plan that Paul Heyman mentioned, and he said that he is the real future. Rollins said that he wanted to cut the crap. He said he came here as a professional courtesy for someone he thought he had respect for. And he said that if Gunther wins the title, he'll be treated no differently than anybody else, and he will make himself a target. And Gunther said he is eagerly awaiting it. We had another triple threat Money in the Bank qualifying match.
It's a direction you can fuck.
That's what Gunther said to Seth Rollins. That's what he should have told him. Off is the direction that you can fuck. See, but that would have turned him babyface, though. We can't have babyface Gunther yet.
I have the best moveset.
Down the road, but we're not ready yet for babyface Gunther. It's not the right time. But we had another Money in the Bank triple threat match here, qualifier. It was Rhea Ripley against Zoey Stark against the returning Kairi Sane. This was Kairi's first match since December. Kairi now, when she comes out, she throws gold coins into the crowd. She pulls out like a fistful of gold coins and she throws them up into the air into the crowd. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, those are like the chocolate coins and gold foil that I used to get for Hanukkah. And she's just throwing them out into the crowd. Sure feels like Damage Control is no more. And Kairi is off doing her own thing now. Now, early in the match, there was a very gruesome injury. And I feel really bad for Zoey Stark because it was just awful to see it and to hear her screaming in agony, because you could hear her even off camera. And that, to me, you know what it was? It was like Pac. When Pac took that buckle bomb on Dynamite in the match with Swerve Strickland coming out of, I guess it would have been Dynasty, he got buckle bombed in the corner and you could hear him scream. And how often does that happen? That you hear anybody, let alone, Pac is out there and he's shrieking and screaming in agony. And it's like, okay, that's how you know it's something serious. And he hasn't been seen or heard from since. So when I heard that, I said, oh shit. I mean, I knew when I saw it, but when I heard her screaming, I said, this is very bad. So what happened here? Rhea Ripley was outside and Kairi Sane was in the ring and she was setting up for a dive. Okay, she was going to dive out of the ring onto Rhea. When she turned around, Zoey Stark, who was off camera, so we couldn't see Zoey, but Zoey was up on the top rope, and she was going to deliver the missile drop kick that she does, the same missile drop kick that she concussed Dakota Kai with a few months ago, because it looks brutal. So she's going to come off the top rope with her drop kick. What it looked like to me is that she either mistimed it or Kairi was just out of position. I think she just mistimed it. And it also looked like she had a lot of distance to cover from where she came off to where Kairi was. And she had to fly really far. This is what it looked like. And when she landed, her right leg just literally bent underneath her weight. And again, I mean, this image here doesn't even do it justice, because she was coming off the top rope and she landed this way. And it looked like her leg snapped. Your leg is not supposed to bend like that. And she immediately clutched her knee. She was crying out in pain. They sent the doctor into the ring to check on her. And then they kept the camera off of her before cutting away to commercial. And apparently she had to be carried to the back. She couldn't put any weight on the leg. I mean, I wouldn't recommend putting any weight on the leg after something like that. And on commentary, Michael Cole said that she hurt the same leg that she previously had surgery on. She tore her ACL, MCL, and meniscus in her left knee at Halloween Havoc in NXT a few years ago. I don't know how many years ago it was now, but it was several years ago. Here, she clearly injured. If you look, I mean, that's her right leg. So it is not the same leg, but it is just as awful. It's just terrible. So the show came back and Zoey was not there. And Michael Cole announced that this has now turned into a one-on-one match between Rhea Ripley and Kairi Sane. Ripley stretched Kairi until Kairi worked out of it, went up to the top rope. She jumped at Rhea. Rhea, though, drop kicked her out of midair. So that was good enough to earn her a near fall. Ripley set up for Riptide. Kairi worked out of it and gave Rhea a back elbow. Kairi went to the top. She went for the insane elbow, but Rhea got her feet up and booted the elbow on her way down. And from there, Rhea connected with Riptide for the win to qualify for Money in the Bank. Not that it matters here, but obviously not ideal for Kairi Sane after 5 or 6 months on the shelf to lose her very first match back. But again, it doesn't matter, because I am sure Zoey Stark was in this match to take the losing fall. And as soon as she got hurt, they had to call an audible here and say, okay, this is now going to be a singles match. We're not doing a triple threat. We got to figure something out here. And Rhea's still winning. So unfortunately, Kairi Sane had to take the bullet. It is what it is. Unfortunately, these things happen. So, because I know there'll be some people saying, oh man, she just came back and she lost. But yeah, okay. I think given the circumstances here, who gives a shit? It doesn't mean anything. I'm sure Kairi was not taking the losing fall in this match, had things gone according to plan. Rhea winning did not surprise me, although she could have, I mean, honestly, with the interaction between her and Io over the last several weeks, all she had to do was just ask Io for a title match, right? And I'm sure Io would have been like, oh, of course, I'll give you a title match. It's not as if she had to go through the hassle of winning Money in the Bank. It just kind of felt unnecessary. But they want star power in the match. And Rhea Ripley, you see it every single week. You know, when she comes out, she's one of the biggest stars in the entire company. How do you leave Rhea Ripley off Money in the Bank? You don't. So I'm not surprised that she would end up in the match, even though I don't know. I would not say that she's automatically the favorite to win. But you got some star power in there now with her, and you got some star power in there with some of the other names that have qualified. Alexa Bliss is in there. So I get it. That doesn't necessarily mean Rhea is the automatic favorite, though. The real story here, though, is Zoey Stark. And again, I feel bad for her just to go through that. What I described to you before, ACL, MCL, meniscus, like that's like Tegan Knox when her knee exploded. I think with her, it was the exact same thing. She tore this and this and this. And it's just devastating. Forget the physical pain, like in the moment. But psychologically, how it just has to wreck you because now what you're in for. And in her case, we don't know what the injury is, but it's pretty fucking bad. I'm sure it's very bad. And maybe something's torn. I don't know. Something's broken. Who knows? But she's been through this before. And I'm sure those screams and those tears and everything is partially not only because she's in pain, but because she realizes, shit, I got to go through this all over again because she knows what it's like. Yeah, that's the thing that stands out to me in my mind when I think back to when Tegan Nox came back after her first or second torn ACL. Because she tore her ACL once before she ever got into wrestling. And then I think she tore it working out of the Performance Center. So it would have been after the second one when she was in the Mae Young Classic. Funny enough, or maybe not so funny, against Rhea Ripley. And I'll never forget when she went down. Actually, when the injury initially happened, it was on a dive out to the floor on the ramp. And she kept going. And I remember Rhea drop kicked her. And when she went down, that was it. She knew. And they called the match. Aubrey Edwards was the referee, and they called the match off. And it was so quiet in Full Sail that you could hear a pin drop. So you could hear everything that Tegan, like the crying and everything she was saying. And I remember her saying, I can't do it again. Like, not again. I can't do it again. Because she knew, what she had been through previously. And it just broke your heart because it's like, what do you do? Like, what do you even say to a person like that in a situation like that? So it's awful. I feel bad for her. And, without any official diagnosis, we can't know the severity of the injury, but just by watching it, it's bad. And we're not going to see her back in the ring for a very long time. I don't think we need to have the official diagnosis to know that. So best wishes to her. Hopefully it's not quite as bad as it looked, but it was bad. And look, first they get rid of Sonya Deville, and then they get rid of Shayna Baszler. So her two partners are gone, right? The Pure Fusion Collective was dead a long time ago, but they get rid of her tag team partner just recently in Shayna Baszler. And this woman is barely getting a chance to even wrestle on television at all. They don't even do house shows hardly at all anymore. So this woman is just sitting around collecting dust. And finally, she has a chance to go on TV. And yeah, she would have lost, I'm sure, but she has a chance in a Money in the Bank qualifying match to actually work and go out and wrestle. And then this happens in a complete freak accident. It's awful. They aired a Russo, God for a fucking bid. A Rusev promo. I'll tell you what, if they would have aired a Russo promo video, that's where I turn the show off. That's what I do. No, they aired a Rusev promo video. He said he admired Tozawa's courage. He said that he was trying to fix Tozawa and he called him an ungrateful little man. He took issue with Tozawa challenging him and told him that he now has a problem. Rusev said that Tozawa's ego might get him cheered, but his arrogance will get him slaughtered. And Rusev said that he will embrace Tozawa's challenge with open arms and that he would forgive Tozawa's stupidity and forget his existence. So that match will be taking place next Monday. Ava says cutting down on house shows is a massive mistake. I just talked about this on the Sound Off yesterday. There are pros and cons. I think having an easier schedule is good. But yes, I think cutting down on house shows as much as they have, and they may cut more, is going to end up being a very bad thing. Not only because you have people who just are not going to be able to get in the ring. It's not like WWE lets you go book independent dates like AEW does. All right, well, we're not using you. Go ahead and book your own shots. You can't do that. If you're lucky, maybe they'll let you work NXT for a little bit. But besides that, it's like if you're not working, and I'm not saying that this is what happened with Zoey Stark, where she's not wrestling a lot, and so that's why she got hurt. This was just a freak thing, but that could be an issue too for some people, where if they're not working, or they're not working nearly as much, that could be a bad thing. That could work against you. That can make you more prone to injury. So yeah, no, Ava, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. At the rate that they're cutting them, if they continue to cut them even more, it's going to be a very bad thing. So the Judgment Day They were hanging out in their clubhouse when Roxanne Perez entered along with Finn Balor. Raquel Rodriguez was questioning what she was doing there. And Balor said that he and Roxanne had been chatting the last couple of weeks, which I've been pointing out to you in some of these backstage segments at least twice now. We've seen Balor and Roxanne having a conversation in the background. So it was clear this was going to go somewhere. And he wanted to introduce her to the Judgment Day. He said that he had been thinking about what Dom was saying about needing more numbers. And Dom said, we need to talk to Liv Morgan before any decisions are made. And Balor said, look, she's not a new member, but she could provide help if we need it. So Roxanne said that I got you all presents. And she gave Dom a box of chicken nuggets, which is a faux pas because Dom is a fan of chicken tendies. Chicken tenders and chicken nuggets are not the same thing. Although he looked very appreciative of the gesture. Carlito got a bag full of apples. Raquel was nonplussed about all this. She told Roxanne to leave and then very sternly told Balor, Liv is going to hear about what happened. And Balor, with a smirk on his face, nice devilish grin, said, I can't wait. Liv Morgan, by the way, is supposedly done filming her role for that movie in Japan, so she could be back on the show as soon as next week. I like the idea of Roxanne not being an official member of the Judgment Day, but just sort of being allied with them. I could see that leading to something between Liv and Roxanne. Maybe that's what they're building towards here. Maybe even down the road, Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez in a mixed tag against Dom and Liv. Right? Further down the road, I could see that. Right? There's a bunch of potentially fun ideas here with Roxanne. Getting her involved in something right now is a smart move. And they close the show with Jey Uso taking on Bron Breakker. This was a non-title match before his championship match this Saturday. Dom was eyeing up Roxy, says Sam. Well, look, I mean, Dom's been with Rhea. He's with Liv. Maybe Roxanne is his next conquest. Apparently, the guy is irresistible. And he's got the championship, too. So he's got some gold. Maybe Roxanne is his next target. I don't know. Breakker had the upper hand to start things out. It was a very brief period here because Jey Uso battled back and clotheslined him over the top into the floor. Jey followed that up with a suicide dive through the ropes, and then they went to commercial. Show came back. Breakker had the advantage now. There was a brief hope spot where Uso went to the middle rope for a splash. Breakker, though, caught him and slammed him. Jey knocked Bron out of the ring and went for a suicide dive, but Bron caught him and then ragdolled him. Then he jumped from the apron and he hit something of a bulldog, I guess, kind of looked like, onto the announce desk. He did it to Jey, but it looked like Bron took the worst end of it. And then they took us into a second commercial break. The show came back. The two of them were back inside the ring. Jey slapped Breakker and they traded some shots. The sequence ended with a pop-up Samoan drop by Jey for a nice near fall. Uso went to the top. Breakker cut him off and they were fighting on the second rope, and ultimately Breakker hit his jump-up Frankensteiner to take Jey all the way down to the mat. Breakker ran the ropes. He ran right into a super kick. Paul Heyman now gets up on the apron and Breakker goes outside while this distraction is taking place. And he goes outside and he grabs a chair. And he brings it in with him, and Jey kicks the chair out of Breakker's hand and runs the ropes. Heyman, though, grabs Jey's foot. And Uso leaves the ring. He confronts Heyman, but wouldn't you know, Seth Rollins appears out of nowhere and he attacks Jey to end the match. One would assume that this was a disqualification. They never announce these things. But like in the past, when all is said and done, they list it sometimes as like a no contest, which makes no fucking sense. So this is a disqualification. There should be a disqualification win here for Jey Uso. Rollins and Breakker, they put the boots to Uso inside the ring until Sami Zayn's music hits. And Zayn comes out and he gets up on the apron and the crowd is chanting CM Punk, CM Punk. And finally, Punk's music hits and the place explodes, because they probably weren't expecting him. Out comes CM Punk. He joins Sammy on the apron. Now all four men brawl inside the ring. Punk and Zayn, they got the better of it at first, Breakker, though, and Rollins, they battled Sammy into the crowd. Here comes Punk. He leaps off the top of the barricade onto the pile, and all four men, they brawl off into the crowd. That's the last that we see of them. As this is happening, back in the ring, Jey gets his hand raised by the referee. And as he turns, he doesn't see that Logan Paul is there, and Logan Paul catches him with a knockout shot. That's the fourth time now that Logan Paul has knocked out Jey Uso. For some reason, Logan was bleeding from the mouth. I have no idea why. Maybe he has gingivitis. I don't know, but that's how the show went off the air. It was a good match with some nice chaos there at the end. I think the crowd was going wild for it, especially after Punk came out. I like how they weaved the two Saturday night's main event matches, the two stories here together, where we had all four men in the tag match fighting and brawling off. And then that led directly into the interaction we saw between Jey and Logan to end the show. Logan Paul stands tall. I didn't like his chances coming into the show. I liked them even less coming out of the show. But that was Monday Night Raw. Now, next week's show, we're going to finally get some men's Money in the Bank qualifying matches on the show. They did not say with who. We didn't know who was going to be in the women's Money in the Bank qualifiers until this afternoon. So we may not find out until next Monday who's going to be in those matches. We have Tozawa against Rusev. We have the War Raiders, the New Day, and the Creed Brothers next week. Triple threat for the World Tag Team titles. Let's talk about Saturday night's main event because that's coming up this weekend. This was the final Raw before that show. We have John Cena one-on-one with R-Truth. This will not be for the championship. John Cena is not losing to R-Truth unless he gets himself disqualified. This is not going to be much of a match. It's going to be more of an angle than a match. We have a steel cage match between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. And I think it was somebody the other night who floated this idea, and I really like this idea. I wish, and they're not going to do it. You could see in the graphic, it's the mesh cage. But, you know, old school. Saturday night's main event. Jesse Ventura, they haven't mentioned him at all, but he previously said he was going to be on all four shows this year. So I assume he'll be there. I wish they would go back to the blue bar cage just for one night. This should be a steel cage match in the old school blue bar cage. But it's Priest and McIntyre, which I think is going to be a win for Priest. I think you're really, again, I hate to use the word, but you're kind of burying the guy if he loses again to Drew McIntyre. And that's not a smart thing to do because you moved him over to SmackDown to try to get him over as one of the top baby faces on the brand. And you're really doing damage if he goes in there and just loses again. Should be a win for Damian Priest. He has more to gain than McIntyre has to lose. Put it that way. McIntyre, I feel like, is already in a position where even if he's not in the world title mix, he's a made guy. He's a made guy in a way that Damian Priest right now is not. That's why he should win. CM Punk and Sami Zayn take on Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. That should be a win for Rollins and Breakker. Brand new heel faction on Monday nights. I don't know why you would be beating them this soon. And then Jey Uso and Logan Paul for the World Heavyweight Championship. This will be a win for Jey Uso. And we will get the rematch on June 9th between Jey Uso and Gunther. I suppose there's always a chance, depending on how the finish goes down on Saturday, that Logan Paul could be worked into that match and we get a triple threat on Raw June 9th with Jey, Logan, and Gunther. But Jey Uso is not losing the World Heavyweight Championship this weekend.
Shut the fuck
As soon as I say World Championship, look who pops up.
Fuck that tree.
This guy can't help himself. I say world title and he shows up. What did you think of Raw here tonight? The final Raw here before Saturday night's main event. 57.2% thumbs up, 27.5% thumbs in the middle, and 15.3% thumbs down. Hey, Chelsea, I love you too. Thank you, Chelsea. And thank you for voting. Keep it up at Solomonster on X. Go vote. Hey, Tonga Loa Superfan is with us. When did you first realize that Tonga Loa had it? What is this it that you speak of? Is it the innate ability to trip over his own feet? Is it the innate ability to, in delivering a low blow to somebody, to punch his own brother in the head? Is it the innate ability to, in your debut appearance, to not make it out from under the ring in time to break up the pinfall? This man has done so many amazing things. All right, let's check out your messages here. Get those messages in, get those comments in. I will read through them all. We are currently at 425 likes, which is very good. Again, I mistimed the bonus goal. It should still be active, but it ended in like 10 minutes, so we didn't hit that goal. But I don't know. We get a few other yellow or higher ones, and we may do a bonus round of Be the Booker. But let's go through these questions first. Start with terrible dried chicken without flavor. I'm setting the bar real low tonight.
Shut the fuck up.
What the fuck? What happened?
Fuck that tree.
What the hell happened to that? That sounded horrible. I don't know what that was. I hope you didn't hear that. I'm setting the bar real low tonight. The House of Torture is more heelish than John Cena. True. Also, I take back everything I said about John Cena being the Anakin Skywalker of his heel run. Cena is more like Kylo Ren during his heel run. I don't know who that is. Havili is with us tonight. Havili actually dropped Perez Super Chats. Shout out to Havili. He says, with Jeff Cobb in WWE, what is the possibility of Naito staying in Japan or going to AEW? And if Tonga Loa did not get injured in War Games, would we have gotten the Usos against the Gorillas of Destiny at WrestleMania 41 for the Tag Team Championship? No. Jey Uso won the World Heavyweight Championship. So the idea that he was planned for a tag team title match against Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, but because Tonga Loa got hurt, they decided to put the World Heavyweight Championship on Jey Uso. I can guarantee you that was not the plan. And Naito, no, I think Naito is going to freelance. You know, he may pop up in New Japan here and there in the future, but I think he's going to take some time to rest up and freelance, and I think he'll do real well. Because he left New Japan as the biggest name in the company. Also, what is the possibility of a match for Penta at Worlds Collide? Rematch with Dominic for the IC title, Mask versus Mask with El Grande Americano, or reunited with Rey Fenix in a tag team match? It's definitely not option A. There's no reason to put him back in the ring with Dom for the IC title unless he's winning it. I'm going to say a reunion. I'm going to say a reunion with Phoenix against Grande Americano, maybe, and Dom. That would be my guess. Mask versus Mask, though, is also a possibility. You know, he's going to lose that mask soon, and when he does, it's just a matter of who it's against. Penta would make sense because Rey Mysterio, I have no idea how long he's going to be out for. He just had surgery. So I suspect we're not going to actually be seeing Rey for a while, so it really can't be him. He's going to be out for a few months. We have got J Baby. Do you know why WWE never runs the United Center when they come to Chicago? The only time that they did was the SummerSlam show in 1994. Which I think was maybe the very first show of any kind that they did in the United Center? If it wasn't the very first, it was one of the very first shows in that building. I know that was very early on when the United Center opened. I think it's just the case where they have a relationship with the Allstate Arena, and I think it's cheaper to run there. I think it comes down probably to simple economics. MGM Ballin with the 1999. Poor Zoey. Man, that was brutal. Also, poor me, because I would like someone, Roxanne, to gift me chicken nuggets the way that Dom was. Either way, here's a Be the Booker Super to get the ball rolling. Let's go Knicks. I like chicken nuggets myself, regardless of who delivers them to me, as long as they're fresh. Thank you, MGM Ballin. Justin G, 26 months of channel membership, worth it every month. Thank you, Solomonster. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Justin. Happy to have you. Every single week, 26 months in a row. Thugonomics, yeah. It's basic thugonomics. I mean, that's really why they run Allstate, not the United Center. It's just basic thugonomics. That's it. David Thiering with a $12 super chat. When I was listening to the Sound Off this past weekend and I heard your installment of Real American Bullshit, I legit was busting out laughing because it's so true. Great work, as always, sir. Thank you, David. I thought you might enjoy that. What will the next installment bring? Zach says, Fiend. Thank you, Zach. Dog Lover 2122. Prayers to Zoey. I recently developed a sports hernia during a hockey game. Have to have it surgically repaired. I know it's different injuries, but I'm hoping she can avoid surgery. I hope so too, but I don't think that's looking too good. And good luck with the hernia. I know there's different grades, right? Different types. Many years ago, a doctor thought I had a inguinal hernia, I think it's called, but I said I'm sure it's fine, and we left it alone. You're not cutting me open. I already got my leg cut open. You're not cutting open my whatever. But I'm okay, so I assume it wasn't that serious. Arabian Night 2000. If rumors are true and his deal is up in July, I hope Cross just up and leaves. WWE clearly has no clue how to use him even when he is getting reactions. F.U. Triple H. Yeah, I can't figure out the Cross thing myself. I said last week he had like 3 seconds on screen in the background as somebody was walking, giving his t-shirt out to the New Day. I'm like, this is what you come up with for this guy? You're going to squander whatever little bit of momentum this guy appears to be building up. You're just going to throw it away? For what? For what? For nothing. So you have little Easter egg segments with him in the background. Guess what? You don't get people over that way. But we have men's Money in the Bank qualifiers next week. Whether he wins or loses, if he's not even in any of the qualifiers, then I agree. Like, he should just up and walk. That's it. Because it's clear as day to me they're not doing shit with him. If he's not even in any of the matches, like, what are we doing here? I don't get it. Dark Effect with the $50 super chat. WWE needs to pony up and get the song Roxanne by the Police for Roxanne. But you want TKO? You want TKO to pony up the cash? They'll have a Def Rebel version of Roxanne, and you'll like it. What would her opening soundbite be? Roxanne. It's all I hear when someone says her name. Maybe that's just because I'm old, though. Well, you are probably old. Hearing Jimmy Hart talk about favorite theme songs made me miss those days. I think we all do. We have Sidro is with us with a $5 super chat. Prodigy. You're right. Probably Prodigy.
Prodigy.
That's going to be the opening of her new theme song. Maybe they could get Prodigy to actually like take a Prodigy song. I'd be okay with that. Sidro says, bought an alarm clock that swears at you instead of beeping. It's a rude awakening. And someone asked me to name 2 structures that hold water. I'm like, well, damn. Oh, man. We have, I'm not even going to attempt that, but thank you for the membership. Make out tea. Sorry, but every time Kairi is in the ring, she seems out of place and off the mark. Always feels like she's putting herself or somebody else in a bad spot. It sounded, I will say this, it sounded to me when she finally turned around and Zoey was coming off with the drop kick, I could have sworn I heard Zoey shouting Kairi. So maybe she was already in mid-flight because you couldn't see Zoey. You know, the camera was in tight. So was she already in mid-flight or was she still on the top rope trying to get her attention? That I don't know. But I do wonder if maybe she had already jumped and Kairi hadn't moved into the right position, like hadn't started running yet, because her back was turned. Right? The idea was she'll turn, she's going to get ready to do a dive, but when she turns around, like boom, she gets hit with the drop kick. I could have sworn I heard Zoey yelling like Kairi. So again, I think it was just whoever you want to blame. I think it was just mistimed. I think it was just like a mistiming of the spot. Joseph says, beat your ass, huh? That's what Ricochet said to Javon Evans. Hashtag push cross now. Sidro says, I rhymed. Camera was in tight. She was in mid-flight. Look at that. I didn't even mean to do that. That's just how talented I am. It just comes naturally to me. Double S says, a fan camera angle just got posted. Kairi was 100% out of position. Yeah, that makes it even worse. But, you know, this was Kairi's first match in 6 months, and, you know, maybe that was part of it. You know, she hasn't been in the ring in so long. It's just sad. It's just really sad. Bobby's World says, no live review after Saturday night's main event. No, I'm going to tweet my displeasure. Just playing, enjoy the birthday party. Yes, I will be. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it's. I think it's supposed to be outdoors. And it's supposed to rain this weekend. It's been raining every other fucking day here in New York for weeks. So who's to say the party won't get canceled? If the party's canceled, then I guess I'll be able to go live after Saturday night's main event. But if not, I will have my full review on the sound off next Sunday. So you won't have to wait very long. I just won't be able to make any money, which is kind of bad. But I feel bad because I haven't been able to go to this person's party for like 3 years now because they've been doing these fucking Saudi shows that same weekend every year. This year there happens to be no like PLE, like big show that weekend. So I'm like, yeah, what? I'll be here for Double or Nothing on Sunday, but I gotta venture out on Saturday. I can't just stay here. No, the party is not at Chuck E. Cheese. Who said that? Scum. Scum said not at Chuck E. Cheese. I don't think I've set foot in a Chuck E. Cheese in 35 years. Sidro, do you know where you can get chicken broth in bulk? The stock market. And my friend Philip had his lip removed last week. Now we just call him Phil. Very good. Very good. Says Psycho Sidro there. Ron, buy or sell more consequential or important turn. Austin in 97 or Roman in 2020. Austin in 97. Sidro, what do you call a hen that can count its own eggs? A mathemachicken. Oh, that's just awful. That is just all. Whatever goodwill you had with me for that last one is just washed away. And he says there's a new law for buying veggies at grocery. Law states if you buy carrots, you must also buy cabbage and onion. It's Cole's Law. I don't know if you're trying to make them awful. You're doing a good job, though, if you are. John says you get to go to any WrestleMania, past, present, or future. The catch, while attending, you have to wear a shirt 2 sizes too small and 2 left shoes. Then I guess I'm not going to WrestleMania, because why would I do that? Nobody wants to see me in a belly shirt, tripping over myself. I just won't go. That's my answer. Hulkling93 with the $10 super chat. Best wishes for Zoey. That cry of pain was very heartbreaking. I also would like to say good game to you, Solo, and your Mets. No hard feelings, just was a Sunday night. Best of luck in July. Best of luck to you as well. Duff's Vids. What does the salad say before it eats? Let us pray. Thank you, Duffs. That's Duff's Vids, everybody. Sidro got kicked out of a secret cooking society for spilling the beans. And what do birds do when they get together? They exchange pleasant trees. I like the first one. I did finish the joke. I said, let us pray. But I had to try very hard not to just lose my shit there. Justin, thank you for the gifted membership to Stephanie Vicaire. Stephanie Vicaire Simp is now that could be anybody in this chat. Stephanie Vicaire Simp is now a channel member. Thanks to Justin. Ryan Adams with a $10 super chat. So Finn is definitely a messy uncle. He knew what he was doing. Also, Raquel getting mad because someone else flirted with Carlito. Is Raquel getting jealous? See, that's interesting. I didn't look at it that way. I just looked at it as, here's this woman that I don't know who's kind of infringing on our territory. That would be kind of funny if she has this like passive aggressive crush on Carlito. Elijah says we all simp for Stephanie. Jeremy Rose. The last 2 weeks, WWE's YouTube channel has posted cross matches from Main Event. They never post these matches. So what, in your opinion, is the reason for this? Are they trying to build interest or are they trolling? The team that runs the YouTube channel is completely separate and apart from Triple H and his creative team. So I think probably the team running the YouTube account is trying to help Cross, and the creative team is not doing him any favors. There seems to be a disconnect there. Dark Effect, I just wanted to add get well soon JR. For my money, he's the best commentator of all time. For the longest time, he was the voice of wrestling. Here's hoping he kicks cancer's ass. That's what I said on the Sound Off this weekend. Unfortunately, he was diagnosed recently with colon cancer. He's having surgery soon. And wishing all the best to JR. He's the greatest to ever do it. Simple as that. She could be Carlito's daughter. Yeah, what is Carlito's like 40? What is he, 45? How old is Raquel? Yeah, that is a little weird. Duff's Vids, what do you call the security guards for Samsung? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Have the best moveset.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Ah, okay. I get it. Samsung Galaxy. Very good. 46. Raquel is not 46. Oh, Carlito. Raquel is 33. Okay. I thought you were telling me Raquel is 46. I go, oh, she looks pretty fucking good for 46. All right, I was off by one. Carlito's 46. He's not 45. Raquel is 33. Yeah, that's fine. Duff's Vids, I found a book called How to Solve 50% of Your Problems. So I bought 2. And you guys are something else tonight. Dark Effect with 5 channel memberships gifted to Boomerang, Ray Wrighton, Sarah Bengar, Brian Alex, and Double S. Look at this, I'm dyslexic now. Double S. Nick Grasso with the $9.99 says, great night for Roxanne and she has direction, but do they have a plan for Julia? Or just like the Kairi Sane treatment, or worse, the Blair Davenport treatment? Also, where has Karrion Kross been? He's been on Main Event. That's where he's been. He's been in the back. I can guarantee you that they're not going to give Julia the Blair Davenport treatment. There was a great idea. I talked about it on the show yesterday, and somebody floated it on the SmackDown stream on Friday night. And I actually really liked the idea, which is that Julia wins her Money in the Bank qualifier this Friday, because she's in there with Zoey, Zoey. Wrong Z. Zelina Vega and Charlotte. And I really don't want Charlotte to win. I would love it if Julia won. She's probably not going to win Money in the Bank, but she should win on Friday anyway. But she pins Zelina to win the qualifier. That's the most important part. Whether she wins Money in the Bank or not, she pins the U.S. champion to win the qualifier, and coming out of Money in the Bank, it doesn't have to be right away, but she will feud with Zelina, beat Zelina for the U.S. title, and get a U.S. title run on SmackDown. I like that idea a lot. I hope that's what they do. Sidro, deep thought of the day. When you clean out a vacuum cleaner, you become a vacuum cleaner. You do. You know what? That's true. When you are cleaning a vacuum, you become a vacuum cleaner. I never looked at it that way. There's Ray. Ray Wright. Now, Ray, were you already a channel member and you just got gifted another one, or did your membership run out? You're a member now. That's all that matters. I see the red skull next to Ray's name. Shout out to Ray. She's the best. And he says, the inventor of the ballet skirt really struggled with what to name it until he finally put 2 and 2 together. TU and TU. Have to spell it out for the people that are going to be listening to this on the audio download. There's my boy, Warhawk Rambo. Solomonster rocks. You do too? Look at Chris Manson showing off. He's in the chat with his blue skull. Like he's better than you. And you know it. What happened to the Mets? The less said about them, the better. Ron says, did you hear about the man who went through the screen door? He strained himself. Tonga Loa Superfan, thank you for the $2 again. I already read that one earlier when it came in. I think that's enough Tonga Loa discussion for the night. Number 1, Homo Sapien says, no joke today, just a thanks for helping me keep distracted on the 5th anniversary of my father's death. Homo Sapien, you are very welcome. I'm very sorry to hear about that. I know that feeling. And I hope you're doing well. And I'm glad you're hanging out with us. Hopefully that makes it a little bit easier. Chelsea Webb renewed their Sound Off membership. Saw Chelsea in the chat before. Ray said it expired. Look at that. And just like that, she's a member again. Chris Ludek with a 12. Buy or sell, Saved by the Bell or California Dreams? Saved by the Bell. Easily. Also, will you be doing a watch-along for Saturday night's main event or a post-show reaction? I will be doing neither because I will not be here. So I will be doing a review on Sound Off 9/14 on Sunday. But I will be live after Double or Nothing on Sunday night. Retro KOH says, yeah, Tonga Loa has it. Ingrown toenails. Is that why he's been out for months? Be kind of funny if that's part of the reason why he was out. He has like a really bad ingrown toenail. So he's been on the injury list. Sam says, was good to hear Ollie Davis at Wrestle Talk say he used to listen to you in the latest podcast. 20 minutes in, he rates you over Dave Meltzer. I mean, how high is that bar really in 2025? I feel like his rep has taken a hit recently. Yeah, Ollie used to talk about the Sound Off or name drop the show here and there quite often. People would point out to me different mentions, which was always very cool over at Wrestle Talk. Duff's Vids, what did the lunchbox say to the refrigerator? Don't hate me because I'm a little cooler. Bobby Means with the 10. Did you know that AEW's Double or Nothing will be head-to-head with NXT Battleground? Both shows will be on simultaneously at 8 p.m. on Peacock versus Prime Video. This could get very ugly for Tony Khan. It's been known for a while. Yes, those two shows are going head-to-head on Sunday. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, though. I'm sure that there was no malicious intent involved there. None whatsoever. I will not be watching the NXT show. Chris Manson, I used to cry when my dad chopped onions. Onions was a good dog. I miss him. Thank you, Chris. It's that blue skull humor. We need a Solomonster Wrestle Talk crossover. You had a Solomonster Wrestle Purists crossover last week. Should go check that out. Justin G, again, thank you for that gifted membership. We've got Whiteface is here with an $18 drop. Kairi used to do the coin throwing to the crowd in NXT. One time when she was women's champion, she accidentally threw her belt into the crowd, and it was hilarious. Bless her. Yeah, that's right. She did do that in NXT. That was a long time ago. Dark Effect. Crushing it with the 5 gifted channel memberships. Sidro called my boss and asked if I could come in a little late. He said, dream on. I think that was really nice of him. And why do Norwegians put barcodes on the side of their boats? So they can Scandinavian. Oh, my God. Tongaloa superfan. Enough Tongaloa discussion for the night. Hold my beer. Says Tongaloa superfan. Sidro. I've just been promoted to running all of Old McDonald's farms. I'll be the CIEIO. Didn't you use that once before? I'm almost positive I've heard that one. P.S. Listen to my new trance beat when you get a chance. Tweet me. I'll try to check it out. I hadn't been on social media much this weekend. Duff's Vids, you don't need a parachute to go skydiving. You need one to go skydiving twice. You don't need a parachute to go skydiving. You need one to go skydiving twice. Am I missing something here? Tongaloa superfan, close your eyes, Solo, and imagine this. In 10 years, says Bret Hart will be inducting a Tonga Loa match as the WWE Immortals moment at the Hall of Fame. Just wait. I'll tell you what. I will hand this entire podcast over to you if that happens. It will become the Tonga Loa podcast if that actually happens. I feel confident that it won't. Sidro, I've been just been promoted to running all of Old McDonald's farm. What? Am I having deja vu here? Tyrus with the $25 Brie mode says, thank you.
It's the amazing
my goodness.
Gunther.
Oh my goodness.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther, the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
Crowd is going wild because we just got a big drop. We got a Gunther drop from Fire Panda. Let me get to Tyrus first. Tyrus says, thank you for all you do every week. You help lots of people, including myself. Also, what happened to the letter that fell off the billboard? Nothing. It's just a little dirt E. Thank you, Tyrus. There's got to be like a book. Like a Bible of jokes. And they just pull from it. I need to find this book. Duff's Vids, what do you say when a chicken is looking at salad? Chicken sees a salad. That is what you would say. EJ Slemp, I miss Bulu Fatu. It was Bulu Fatulu, and I miss Bulu as well. Bulu used to be all over these streams, very active on the channel. I have not heard from Bulu in quite some time, and I hope he's doing okay. And little baby Fire Panda with the $50 bomb. Shower thoughts. Are oranges named oranges because oranges are orange? Or is orange named orange because oranges are orange? And if you buy a bigger bed, you're left with more bedroom, but less bedroom. Happy May 19th, everyone. Yeah, I saw there was an advertisement earlier for mattress toppers. And I realized I've never had a mattress topper before. Like, is it even necessary? Does anybody in this chat have a mattress topper that they put on top of their mattress? And Do the sheets go over the mattress topper, or does the mattress topper go over the bed sheets? How does that even work? I've never had one, but it looked very comfortable. Sidro, what do you call a drunk parrot that makes fun of everyone? Tequila Mockingbird. Tequila Mockingbird. That would actually be a great drink name. I would order that drink. Ron says, I asked my North Korean friend how it was there. He said he couldn't complain. That's very good. That's very good. And the Tongaloa hater. I challenge Superfan to a barbed wire Taco Bell match. Uh-oh. We have Tongaloa Superfan. And we have Tongaloa hater. I mean, if that isn't a Be the Booker match, I don't know what is. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, was your installment of the Comedy Cellar here tonight. Superfan has 24 hours to respond. Yeah, the North Korea one was actually very clever. It actually was very clever. I like that one. But it is time to end on the right note, and that is with Be the Booker. So let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to Be the Booker.
Look at this. Brie Bella's head on Dominic's body. The timing of this one. Alex with the $25 super chat. Brother Solo, Fantastic Four or Superman? Fantastic Four. I just was never a big Superman guy. Fantastic Four. All right. Tag team Be the Booker. Round and around it goes. Let's push the button and we land on Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the Young Bucks. One of the most, if not the most, polarizing tag team, maybe of all time. And the Young Bucks will be stepping into the ring. You know what? I think this is a match that everybody, frankly, could get behind right here. I think if you're a Young Bucks fan, you would want to see the match. And if you hate the Young Bucks, you really want to see this match. The Young Bucks against the APA. Can you imagine what Bradshaw and Farouk would do to the Young Bucks if they got them in the ring? That would be very entertaining. I can't see Bradshaw taking a Meltzer driver. And I feel like if they attempted to do a Meltzer driver to him, it would not end well for them. Women's Be the Booker, we have all read everything, just like my mic here. Appropriate for a Monday night. Eva Marie, the second time in, I think, the last two streams that we have landed on this woman. And while I would not ordinarily mind landing on this woman, I did not want to land on her again here and Be the Booker so soon. Demanding, pump the brakes here. We have to find out who everyone wants me to buzz. We have to find out who her opponent is going to be. I mean, what if her opponent is Mayu Iwatani? I mean, you don't have any faith in Mayu? Lita, who has red hair. This truly is the match with all red everything. It is Lita and it is Eva Marie. Now we can buzz. I just had to see who the opponent was going to be. It truly is all red everything here in this match. And our main event. Our main event for round number 1. Because I've decided you guys have been very active tonight so far. So I feel like I owe you a second round. So we're actually going to do 2 rounds of Be the Booker tonight. But let's see what our first main event is going to be. It is going to be the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Sonata. They went through their Sonata phase. And boy, did they move beyond that, didn't they? Sonata in the main event. Against the American Badass Undertaker. One of those matches that, you don't think about. And now that I've booked it, what would that match look like? Undertaker against Sonata. I don't know. I don't know that match would be great. I don't think it would be very good. I don't know. I just don't think those two styles would mesh well. But maybe I'd be wrong. That's why I gave her the bell. All right, now we move on to round 2. We get to do stipulations. Why do I sound like I smoke 6 packs a day? All right, here we go. We're going to pick I don't even know what we're doing first. Tag teams, women. We could tag team the women. I don't know. Let's see. Pick a stipulation. Strap match. We are going to book a strap match. And, I don't want to do a tag team strap match. Let's do the ladies. How about that? A tag team, a strap match with the women is what we're going to open up round number 2 with. I sound like I sound like Jake the Snake. Brian says I sound like Kane. It's probably how I sounded when I was sick a few months ago. Everybody tell me they turned the podcast on. They thought they were listening to the Kurt Angle show. All right, women's strap match. We have Dakota Kai, or shall I say the former Dakota Kai? I assume she's going back to Evie. Well, she's available. I've agreed to her rate, so we're going to bring her in to work a match here in our promotion, and it will be Dakota Kai taking on someone else who happens to be available at the moment. That would be Gigi Dolan. Both part of the recent wave of releases. Dakota Kai and Gigi Dolan in a strap match. Power Spying Game says, I hate strap matches. She trademarked the King Coda name. Oh, is that what she's going to go by now? Great. King Coda. I like that name. I guess King Cullen was taken. So she has to be King Coda. Future HOG match? I'm sworn to secrecy on that. There's a lot of different discussions, guys. There's a lot of talent out there now all of a sudden. So there's a lot of discussions that are ongoing about various potential matches. I was just texting with the promoter today about some matches. Stay tuned. We'll see. Another stipulation we got to pick. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Molotov cocktail match. I can guarantee you will never see this in House of Glory. I don't think the building code would allow it. But a Molotov cocktail tag team match is what we are now in store for. This is going to be wild. Popeyes or KFC? Popeyes. Easily. Rob Van Dam and Hook are in this Molotov cocktail match. RVD and Hook against best friends Trent and Chuck. Awful. One more to go. Hand grenades next. Maybe that'll be in the next AEW game. You can blame them for that Molotov cocktail stipulation. That was in Fight Forever. A Monsters Ball match. Man, we're really doling out the stips tonight, aren't we? We go from strap match, Molotov cocktail match. Now we have a Monsters Ball match. All right, this is our main event. Monsters Ball. Look at this guy. Look at the fucking grin on his face. Where's he been? Jack Perry, the scapegoat, is in a Monsters Ball match. Against Vikingo. Jack Perry and Vikingo in a Monsters Ball match. Well, that didn't go too well. That didn't go the way I was hoping it would go. We did not end on a high note. I have failed you. I have failed you. We got some more super chats to get through here. Arabian Night got a tough buy, sell, rent. Which big man could have been more consistent as an upper mid-card / fringe main event guy in wrestling? Mike Awesome, Chris Kanyon, or Test? Upper mid-card fringe main event guy in wrestling. Mike Awesome. I think I would go with Mike Awesome first, because I think Test could have been a main event guy. I think had his career gone a little bit differently, if he zigged instead of zagged, there was the potential there for him to be a solid, again, upper mid-card maybe, but a solid main event player, I thought. Chris Kanyon was super talented. Man, I think I go Awesome as a buy, Kanyon as a rent, Test as a sell. But they all the potential was there for all of them though. But I think I would go Kanyon for the rent. I think I put him in the middle. Duff's Vids, you need a parachute to go skydiving twice. No parachute, and you just hit the ground. I see. That parachute just flew over my head. Thank you, Duffs. Thank you for clarifying. I was like, what am I missing here? And EJ Slump posted a poll asking if Chase Utley was dirty. Mets fans said yes, loudly. Just make sure Mac from It's Always Sunny doesn't see the results. I think my favorite sign that I ever saw at a Mets, it wasn't even really at the Mets game. It was outside the stadium. They were doing the post show. And there was a fan right behind Gary Apple. And I have the screenshot saved somewhere. And the sign just said, Chase Utley deserves the electric chair. And I said, yes. Yes, he does. Fuck Chase Utley. MGM Ballin. Brunson would never take TV time from Cross like Halliburton. He's a true captain. That he is. And Base Beer is Ryback or Tatanka. Who had a better career? Well, I would say Tatanka, because his career lasted longer than Ryback's. Ryback, he got to work some main events, right? Didn't he? He worked a pay-per-view main event once with Cena. Was it like an ambulance match or something they had? And he worked a Hell in a Cell match against Punk. So he had some bigger matches than Tatanka had, but I just feel like Tatanka, he got to mix it up with some top guys too, but his career overall was longer. And he left and came back. Remember, Tatanka, actually, they brought him back in like the mid-2000s. He was back on SmackDown for a while. Good stuff. Thank you guys for all of the support tonight. Very much appreciate it, as I always do, each and every week, right here on this very channel. And I hope you'll join me on this very channel when I am live again with you on Wednesday after Dynamite, the final Dynamite before Double or Nothing. And then Friday night for SmackDown, the final SmackDown before Saturday night's main event. Tomorrow night, I'll be over on JD's channel for episode 96 of Tuesday Night Titans. Showed me an image earlier of a potential new t-shirt design that I think looks pretty badass. So hopefully that'll be something that we can start plugging soon. But hopefully you will be able to join us there for that. And go check out episode 913 of the Sound Off that went up yesterday. We hit number 2. Actually, I'm sorry, number 3. We were number 3 top wrestling podcast on Apple Podcasts in all of the United States this morning. Second only to the 2 Jim Cornette podcasts. That was your top 3. It was Corny, and Solo. Sounds like a fucking law firm. But go check out that episode and all the other content here on the channel. Until next time, be well. Stay safe. Have yourselves a great night. Best wishes again to Zoey Stark on what was a very gnarly injury. Hopefully she was able to avoid the worst. But man, that didn't look good. I'll see you back here on Wednesday night for the Dynamite recap. Until then, take care, guys.
Hand on the wheel, got my pistons pumping, all 800 horses running. Oh, baby. 125 in the middle of the night, got my engine thundering. Dream machine, racing queen, I'll take you wherever you wanna go. Let's blow this town, break the speed of sound. Tonight we all are racing. Dream machine, racing queen, you make my heart beat, you make my heart beat. Dream machine, racing queen, you make my heart beat, you make my heart beat. Blue lights flashing behind me. Dream machine, racing queen, you make my heart beat, you make my heart beat. Born to ride, Mustang 65, got that V8 engine with a fuel injection. Drop the clutch, pedal to the floor, turn that giddy button to a lion's roar. Dream machine, racing queen, I'll take you wherever you wanna go. Let's blow this town, break the speed of sound. Tonight we all are racing. Dream machine,
Racing queen, you make my ha sing. You make my ha sing. Dream machine, oh, racing queen, you make my ha sing. You make my ha sing.
lights
Racing Queen, you make my ha-ha-ha-ha scream. You make my ha-ha-ha-ha scream.
Oh, Racing Queen, you make my ha 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 scream. You make my ha 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 scream. Fucking love this song. Yeah.